Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today we are reviewing She-Hulk, episode 7. It's called The Retreat, coming to you from Disney Plus and Marvel. So, was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? LADI, we got another episode of She-Hulk, and it's almost nothing to do. Well, I guess it sort of has to do with the previous episode in the sense that Jennifer Walters is in love, or at least in with that guy Josh that she met at the wedding, from the previous episode. But after they seem to hit it off and they go and have their little night of fun, he kind of ghosts her, and she's kind of upset about that. But then she gets a call from a parole officer that something's going on with the Abomination, or M.O. Blonsky's, his tracking device, and she's got to go out and check on it. And in the process, I think she finds out some things about herself, thanks to a very motley crew of semi-superpowered people who are looking to, better themselves with the care of M.L. Blonsky. So I feel like that was a pretty decent synopsis of what happened in the episode, not counting some spoilers. So, Lottie, you saw The Retreat. What'd you think about it?
First of all, I have to say this, and
Go
you know what
ahead.
I'm about to
Wait, I
say.
mean, but even though it's spoilery, but
Yeah,
still,
it's someone better pick up that phone,
why?
cause I fucking called it. But I will say, in my opinion, this was the best episode of what's it called?
Yeah.
Of She-Hulk. Like, like, in my opinion, you may not like this episode because there's really almost no action in it, but I felt like this was, of all the episodes, was definitely the least controversial. There's nothing that you could take from this episode, stamp it online, and people can get pissed off from it. I mean, if anybody gets pissed off
It's
from this
it's got
episode,
it's got a woman with a vagina that's a woman with a vagina. It's got a woman with a vagina who is not subservient to a guy. So there are probably some people online who are mad about it. Just saying.
uh,
But anyway,
it was a good. I like this episode, because ironically, villains are the ones who tell her about herself, because this is what I've been saying this whole time. I'm like, she's using She-Hulk almost like, I feel like this is the first time I felt like this was truly some character development in the show, because it felt like every episode she just stayed the same. There was no developing, and I felt like, okay, finally there's some character development here, that she's actually, you know, being more comfortable with herself and the She-Hulk. And I said, okay, I like this episode. I like this episode. It was funny because of the couple of jokes that they said. For some reason I forgot them. God, I literally just watched it, but this was definitely the funniest episode in my opinion.
yeah, and I'm gonna say, in a way, I'm not gonna completely agree with you. Not about the episode, about the character development. She's literally up to this point. This episode doesn't work if we hadn't seen previous episodes where she's just like putting on her She-Hulk, face to just be smart and sassy and whatever, the it girl, or
Hmm.
and then turning back to Jen and being like completely like not that, the whole thing she was talking about the smart, cool, sexy friend that you wanted to be like, and like she literally can just be that. Like, we've been seeing bits of her realizing, like, why don't I want people like me as Jennifer, because that's actually who I am. She Hulk is just a slight alternate persona for me, and not really me. And so this episode really got to deal with the fact that she's frustrated by that, and she's so frustrated by it because she's got ghosted by this guy. She got ghosted by this dude who she thought liked Jennifer. And this is all the backdrop is just like this little group of and I don't even know if they're all villains. Honestly, we don't know if anyone except one of them was a villain. And the one that attacked her previously. And it was kind of telling that she decided to be She-Hulk in the group meeting rather than, you know, just Jennifer. And then she decided, you know, they encouraged her to. It was a safe space for her. I love the fact that it was a whole it was a you know it seemed like this is a bunch of like new age, you know, uh, therapy stuff or whatever. And there's a certain segment of the fandom who are going to look down on that part of it. They're going to look at Emil Blonsky turning over another leaf and actually trying to, you know, as far as I can tell, he's on the level, trying to actually be a positive, change, trying to be for positive change and for helping people to, you know, get to some of their issues or whatever. There's a lot of people that are down on that sort of thing, and they think it's weakness or whatever. But no one can ever say Emil Blonsky's a weak person.
I mean, isn't Abomination not really a villain anymore in the comic
Yeah,
books?
well, I mean, he was a villain from a certain perspective, but to be perfectly honest, I don't think Emil Blonsky, aside from just having a huge lapse in judgment and being, you know, super obsessed with trying to get Bruce Banner, he's mostly just a soldier. But in his
That's what I was.
yeah, but he's been in
Yeah, that's what I'm
prison.
saying.
You know, he's been in
Yeah,
prison. He wasn't bullshitting about his change of heart and how he was trying to, you know, change his life. And you actually see him working with people that seem silly and ridiculous and like they're but then once you actually get into it, you realize like, no, these are people who actually are trying to change their lives and be better. And Jennifer thinks it's weird and ridiculous at first too, and then she gets something out of it. So
yeah.
I mean, I love that part. There's I see I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Like, if you didn't think the previous, you know, episodes were doing too much character wise, this is definitely a revelation and breakthrough thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. There isn't really any action in it, and I don't think you need action in order to have a compelling story. You just need good, you know, character movement on character. You know, you gotta have a good forward momentum with the story itself, and you have to have interest in people who are around. And everyone was interesting. You know, I love the fact that she sat down in there thinking it was going to be bullshit, and she got fully supported by all those guys in there. Those guys were, you remember, you know, we are used to in these episodes like this and other shows, we're used to seeing the girlfriends sit down and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have texted like that. You should," but instead, and I mean, follow me on this, turning this whole on its head because we're so used to seeing the girl be, you know, the woman turn to her girlfriends and they tell her about where she messing up with the guy, and instead it's a group of guys who are being like, you shouldn't have said that and all that, and we're gonna, you know, that wasn't the right thing to do, and it's like such a good
I
reversal.
mean,
You know what I'm
it
saying?
it's just being honest with you. No, only person who can give you the best advice about a man is a man. Like if, like it's just it reminds me of when my female friends they'll tell me the same thing. I'm like, yeah, that dude ain't he's ghosting you. How do you know? I'm a dude. I, I know what that dude is doing. You know,
But
I see it.
yeah, but
You know what I
the
mean?
reason why I bring this up is because there's been a lot of like that bitch moan complaining
Yeah, about
about that.
always making men look bad. This
And,
was the
yeah,
episode that like
and
they showed men actually helping her.
and which
You know what I
incidentally,
mean?
by the way, men had her coworker Pug has been
Yeah, he's
all
always been
he's
helping
been
her.
great. He's been a great character. I want to see more of him honestly, but he's been cool as hell this whole time. And of course, her dad, her cousin's an idiot, but he's still pretty much on the level. But these guys were absolutely a palate cleanser from all of the other shit guys that have been sort of populating this show. Um, and even down to the spoiler alert, Josh, the piece of shit Josh, and who is basically just running game on her so that he can get her, set her up to get the blood taken, you know, from you know, Hulk King, whoever the fuck that is. And you called it. The guy, he sucks. Fuck that guy. Like I
I
immediately
mean,
was like, I knew that was what was up because as soon as she woke up and he was gone, I was like, oh, did this motherfucker take her blood? But you get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, I was like, man, fuck that guy. So I can't wait to see him get punched in the face with a She-Hulk, fist, because that dude sucks.
I knew he was a villain the first time I seen him. The first time I seen him, I knew he was a villain. He just randomly shows up to Jen as like that corny ass pickup line. I'm like, this is a villain. This is a fucking
Well,
villain.
it could be a rom com meet cute, like where
Nah.
they
The
like
way this show is going,
nah.
the way this show is going, like I could just like I can just tell, I can tell you, bait and switch when I see it. They were trying because remember, in the same episode, they were trying. Well, the episode before, they were trying to make it seem that that weird dude that kept calling her a specimen was the villain. And I'm like, this is the number one thing that they try to use, the biggest bait and switch. I knew it. I was like, that's the villain. The one that seems too good to be true. There's
He
no way.
is.
Yeah, he's the villain. I could just. I was like, yeah, I seen
Yeah.
this before. The villain.
It's messed. It's messed up, and I can't wait to see her. Like I said, punch him in the face. But I love the fact that they left her in a much better place than she was before. As much as I like seeing She-Hulk in there, yes, the CGI is not perfect. I get that. I'm not terribly bothered by that because I know I have an imagination. But as much as I like to see Tatiana Maslany being Jennifer because being Hulk is as much about being your regular self it is about being your big green self. And she supposedly has it together. And I think, remember in the first episode, people were like, why is she shitting on Bruce about how she's got it together? This whole show has been showing that she doesn't have it together. Am I right? This entire show has been showing she's been faking it till she can make it because she doesn't have it together. Only in this episode do I feel like she actually has it together. You know, where she's finally, coming to terms with Jennifer and She-Hulk and
Yeah.
what they're supposed to be for her. And I'm with it. So I really actually I like this episode quite a bit. It's not my favorite episode of the season, but so far, like I like where this is all going, and I'm glad you liked it too. I've been like, please let me have an episode where LADI likes it, where LADI's like, yes. So I'm glad
Yeah.
we hit one where you're just like, this is shit, this is my stuff.
Yeah, this was I actually enjoyed this episode. Like at first, I was just like, "Yeah, she's falling for it and all that stuff," and I was like, "Oh, pleasantly surprised." Because like I honestly felt that I thought Blonsky was going to be very involved in the show. Like I thought he was like a mainstay, but I'm happy to see him back. And ironically, he's the one who helps her become a better Hulk.
Yeah,
You know.
I like his character. We need more Tim Roth, honestly. Not running around beating stuff up, just being this kind of zen abomination. That's cool. So anyway, we both liked the episode, so that's good. Anyway, looking forward to the next episode. So anyway, what do you guys think about this episode? What do you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comments section. Let us know what your thoughts are. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. Do us a favor, get down there, hit that like button, help the algorithm see these videos so more people can watch. That'd be cool. And also, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Help this channel out so we can grow. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us on this review. Come back next week for episode 8, the penultimate episode of She-Hulk Season 1. Until then, I've been the Mo de Poupée, resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend LADI. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.